It's gonna be some stuff you're gonna see that's gonna make it hard to smile in the future. But through whatever you see, through all the rain and the pain, you gotta keep your sense of humor. You gotta be able to smile through all this.
The footage that you are about to see are previous scenes that were featured in the first film. There will also be new additional clips included in the introduction that you may have not seen in the first installment of Scripted since the beginning of time. This will only be used as a way to confirm my theories. I hope that you enjoy the video. Previously on Scripted since the beginning of time.
My theory is that the Earth has a starting point and the world has an ending point, just like we all have a birth date and a death date. And when the world starts over, it resets, no different than a game like Grand Theft Auto or the game Sims. The movie, The Matrix, is the perfect comparison to life. The characters, which are the A-list entertainers and athletes at the top level, are manufactured robots, created characters stored in a containment chamber at a lab.
I did witness some shit with Wayne. I ain't never witnessed it with Jay-Z, but I witnessed Wayne. It was the creepiest shit I ever seen in my life. It was like some alien shit, my nigga. When I walked in the studio, and I walked in, niggas was all looking up like this. I just wanted to see what they was doing. They was all looking up. And Wayne dropped his head and said, "What if I say clear?"
Chapter 1. The Bible. The Bible is filled with many stories. This is why I believe that the Bible was man-made, written based on stories that happened then, that are very identical to the events that take place today. Chapter 2. Slavery. Harriet Tubman is honored and worldly recognized as some superhero for freeing thousands of slaves. But it's also said that Harriet Tubman worked as a spy. Kanye West is one of the occult's biggest pawns.
What did you think of Ye's album, the last album, Yeezus?
I liked it. He's like the lightning rod for the coach. No, he's actually like the cowboy. You know, he runs over the hill, and then the Indians hit him with his arrows, and then he comes back like, "Yo, there's a lot of them over there." And then we go over there and conquer.
This is why Kanye has always been at the forefront, centered around all of the controversial issues facing America. Chapter 3. Money. Money is also used as a tool to control the population. Chapter 4. Media. Mainstream media news, social media platforms, politics, sports, entertainment, etc. is all 100% controlled by the higher-ups. Chapter 5. Technology. Ever since we could all remember, technology has always been around in some fashion, but the question is, do technology advance because there is some inventor who comes up with these new ideas? Or was this technology already built and created since the beginning of time for the future, and is scripted to be released at a certain time, but shown in all of your favorite movies as predictive programming? I guess we all know the answer to that question.
This is an article that appeared in the April 29th, 1906 edition of the New York World, and I found it while I was researching the life of James Edward Kelly, who was a New York City artist, sculptor, painter. He was also friends with many of the important figures of the 19th century, such as General U.S. Grant, Teddy Roosevelt, Thomas Edison, Oscar Wilde, and many, many more. Well, in going through Kelly's papers, I found this article, and it is a clipping about Charles E. Alden, who had invented the vest pocket telephone. That is a precursor of the modern cell phone. It became popular 100 years later. You see the article, the title of it's called Telephone for Your Vest Pocket. And Dateline, Cottage City, Massachusetts, April 28th, Charles E. Alden of New York, who has been pursuing experiments here since last fall in wireless telephoning, has, he says, solved the problem of wireless telephoning, and the result is so simple that it is likely to create a sensation in the business world as well as scientific circles. Now, Alden also says, the reporter writes, that the possibilities are almost limitless. With this new invention, one may yet be able to carry around in his pocket a private telephone which he can call up his house and talk with his family wherever he may be. Persons sitting in the grandstand at a racetrack may telephone to their friends in the city the results of the races undetected. So it sort of had a other motive for inventing this wireless telephone. Well, here's to Charles E. Alden, a man with vision and foresight, who foresaw the modern cell phone, which today it seems we can't live without.
But what about the city of the day after tomorrow, say the year 2000? I think it will be completely different. In fact, it may not even exist at all. Oh, I'm not thinking of the atom bomb and the next Stone Age. I'm thinking of the incredible breakthrough which has been made possible by developments in communications, particularly the transistor and, above all, the communications satellite. These things will make possible a world in which we can be in instant contact with each other wherever we may be, where we can contact our friends anywhere on Earth, even if we don't know their actual physical location. It will be possible in that age, perhaps only 50 years from now, for a man to conduct his business from Tahiti or Bali just as well as he could from London. In fact, if it proves worthwhile, almost any executive skill, any administrative skill, even any physical skill, could be made independent of distance. I am perfectly serious when I suggest that one day we may have brain surgeons in Edinburgh operating on patients in New Zealand. When that time comes, the whole world will have shrunk to a point, and the traditional role of the city as a meeting place for man would have ceased to make any sense. In fact, men will no longer commute, they will communicate. They won't have to travel for business anymore, they'll only travel for pleasure. I only hope that when that day comes, and when the city is abolished, the whole world isn't turned into one giant suburb.
the so-called notable Nostradamus and foreseers of the world, many, many years ago acted and played the role of prophets who were so-called blessed with the gift of being able to see the future. But when you take a step back and look at everything in its totality, you start to realize that the only way many of these things came to fruition is because it's all scripted, written and was planned and predetermined since the beginning of time, even before there were motor vehicles. How can one man predict that cars would one day fly? How roads, skyscrapers, technology would be this advanced? The only way this would be remotely possible would be if the character had been a creation of the elites that is programmed to share the future events of the simulation, just like many of the so-called CIA plants that are secretly robots that exist today. They are all controlled opposition, working lock in step with the elites to influence masses to reach the ending point of the simulation.
Engineers in Japan may have come up with a secret weapon ahead of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. A robot that always sinks a three-point shot.
If there were any doubt that Steph Curry is the greatest shooter ever, what you're about to see will end that doubt. After Warriors practice Saturday, Curry decided to get some extra three-pointers up. And he just kept making them, and making them, and making them. He hit 105 in a row.
The robot, known as Q3, scans a 3D image of the court in front and, based on its calculations of the dimensions, adjusts a series of motors in its arms and knees to line up the perfect precision shot. Scans a 3D image of the court in front and, based on its calculations of the dimensions, adjusts a series of motors in its arms and knees to line up the perfect precision shot.
Scans a 3D image of the court in front and, based on its calculations of the dimensions, adjusts a series of motors in its arms and knees to line up the perfect precision shot.
105. Someone from the Warriors started recording after the first two, so there are 103 of them on video. His shooting streak lasted for 5 minutes, so we're just gonna let it run picture in picture while we continue the show so you can see them all.
And boo, oh, you've missed. Too bad, robot. Leave it to the human athletes. And oh, he's missed as well. The machines haven't taken over just yet. Q3 did score 5 out of 8 of its three-point shot attempts. The robot's lead designer says Q3 doesn't usually miss, but the machine's failures seem to have had a spiritual effect on him.
For the last few days, almost all the shots were going in, and so I'm shocked it missed twice for the real show. But I felt God exists. I felt God exists because it was exciting, ultimately, even to see some shots being missed.
The probability of an NBA player making 105 consecutive wide-open corner threes would be 6.58 times 10 to the negative 41st.
Characters like Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla were labeled as geniuses and prophets of their time, but they were just programmed to share the codes and secrets of the elites that control society. The Nikola Tesla story was one of the most fascinating stories for the ages, but just like all of the characters' stories, unworldly accomplishments and inventions that we've marveled at for all of these years, the Nikola Tesla story as well was too good to be true. Tesla's inventions were considered groundbreaking and earth-shattering, but in a special done by the History Channel, there were 4 men who conducted their own so-called private investigation to discover possible hidden inventions by Tesla that could have been left at the New Yorker hotel where he resided in his final days alive. In the episode on Tesla, the elites reveal just who were the actual geniuses behind all of Tesla's inventions all along.
I'm excited to go back and actually get to have specific stuff that we're looking for.
You know, all these things we've done, we know more about it now. When we look, the things are going to jump out at us better this time around.
Yeah.
Travis and Jason have returned to the New Yorker hotel, the place where Tesla lived for the last decade of his life. It was here that Tesla kept some 80 trunks, filled with everything from scientific inventions to thousands of pages filled with drawings, designs, and plans. But on the night he died in 1943, someone entered Tesla's rooms, opened his safe, and removed an unknown number of important documents. Agents for the US government also entered Tesla's rooms, and despite the fact he was a naturalized citizen, used his immigrant status as a pretext to seize his property.
Hey, fellas.
What's up, guys?
Meeting Travis and Jason at the hotel is their friend and partner, acclaimed Tesla biographer Mark Cypher, containing both a facsimile of a blueprint for Tesla's wireless electricity tower at Wardenclyffe and recently discovered blueprints of the New Yorker hotel.
This hotel could have been built to be Wardenclyffe. This hotel could have been built to be Wardenclyffe.
This hotel could have been built to be Wardenclyffe. In the Nipsey Hussle series, The Marathon Ends, I released about a year ago, I gave my theory on how I believe that the Marathon store was taken down solely because it was no longer needed for the script. In the Nipsey Hussle film, which was his life playing out on the world stage, the store was only there for the time period of him being alive. Up until the day of his stage death, the store being built in the heart of Crenshaw sold the illusion to the hood-level thinkers that he was bringing change to the community. Like all the martyrs, the elites create, but sadly died before he could.
That's an incredible idea.
Hang on, though. The guy couldn't finance a 600-foot tower. How did he finance a hotel?
He didn't build the hotel. That kind of gives me chills, guys.
You've got an amazing theory, Travis.
The more and more I think about this idea that the New Yorker could have been a Tesla experiment, the more and more I get excited about it. I at least got to go take a look.
Who financed this incredible scheme? Could it have been a wealthy benefactor? Forces within the US government? Or someone else?
This is the original wiring loom for the phone system that's been here since 1929. And this is for the 33rd floor, and this right here is for 3327.
That's Tesla's room.
That's Tesla's room.
Could it be that agents were keeping close tabs on him, even going so far as to monitor his phone conversations, so that no enemy agent could come into possession of Tesla's most important scientific papers? And could John G. Trump's assessment of the value of Tesla's papers have been part of a deliberate campaign of disinformation?
I gotta tell you that the New Yorker, if it wasn't built deliberately to be a Wardenclyffe type experiment, Tesla realized that it could be used for a Wardenclyffe type experiment.
I think both of us kind of feel like there was, rather than him being chased by the government or secretly watched by the government, that it's much more likely a scenario that he was working with them.
Absolutely.
I think both of us kind of feel like there was, rather than him being chased by the government or secretly watched by the government, that it's much more likely a scenario that he was working with them.
Absolutely.
I think both of us kind of feel like there was, rather than him being chased by the government or secretly watched by the government, that it's much more likely a scenario that he was working with them. Absolutely. Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein were purposely left out of your school history and science classes, simply so that it keeps balance in society. for the sheep to not know much about them, so that they never question their reality, and was also done so that the conspiracy community would question their reality to prove to the sheep that they are not crazy. They too view these characters as heroes, who are being stopped from revealing the truth about the evil elite's doings. Just like Barbie dolls, the elites create a character to be the face for a product that will be used to lead the masses to the next agenda. A female by the name of Ruth Handler is credited for being the inventor of Barbie dolls, to sell the illusion that these inventions happen naturally, but the elites designed these superficial toys to start the programming early for young girls to have this unrealistic mindset of standards and beauty, and being in a fantasy world. Characters like Lil Kim and Nicki Minaj were manufactured and brought along to pass the baton to help create the future. These artificial created characters who led women to get fake butts, fake breast, fake eyelashes, fuller lips, fake hair, bleaching skin, lipo, facelifts, spoiled diva attitudes, etc. Male influencers are used as well, for men getting fake teeth veneers and fake lifestyles, emulating the characters they've seen in the entertainment world. This made it easier to transition into the digital age and social media, which is a fake world as well. This then opens the door for the future of humans being chipped, and replacing human interactions and reproduction with a world of sex dolls and robots. Cellular phones have also been used throughout our lifetime to gradually prep us for the future as well. Just think about it. The cell phone, similar to the microchip, stores all of our information, our personal contacts, pictures, bank information, you name it. In most cases, in order to unlock your cell phone or place an order in the App Store, you have to use your fingerprint or a code in order to gain access, and this was done purposely to condition you for the future technology. But the notion that new updates are planned months or years ahead. No, the future is already written. The division ties into the separation of the sexes. Both genders are slowly being manipulated into losing attraction for one another. Men are heavily being influenced to bash women so much, to the point it won't even be cool to like women anymore. Female celebrities are leading women astray. The long list of requirements and expectations that women have for men makes it impossible for her to find even a decent mate. Things that would never be a deal breaker for women has now changed, like not wanting to date guys based on certain zodiac signs. Subconsciously, women are ultimately searching for the guy with the zodiac sign that is the most toxic. But ultimately, it's truly about separation, and this is really what the pandemic is all about. It's the introduction of the New World Order, who George Bush was the so-called sacrifice for. Just like the Spanish flu was scripted, so was C-19. Now that more humans are waking up to the simulation, the lies that America was built on kept people dumbed down. A new world has to be done in order to reprogram humans so that you can control them again. The vax sells the illusion there's hope, but eventually people will just give up and just stay home. The job market. Businesses and the economy will crash so that humans are forced to need a new currency and system that they need in order to survive in the new world. Once the world gradually start to depopulate and the masses become programmed to be distant from one another, there will still be people who will meet online and will be thoroughly checked. My theory is that diseases, such as HIV and AIDS, will eventually be cured, which was all created by design to set the stage for the cure, which will influence more men to date the same sex, without fear they can get infected and die. Chapter 6. Medication and Diseases. Before the world of diseases like HIV and AIDS, there was once a world that existed without HIV, AIDS, and many other sexually transmitted diseases. When it comes to medication, we all know that doctors and pharmaceutical companies work hand in hand and receive some type of percentage of the revenue. Just like it's reported that vax companies are generating billions of dollars, the meds is what keep people addicted. It's also said that the same antibiotics that doctors prescribe for humans are the exact replicas that veterinarians prescribe to fish and other animals. So the question then becomes, what other medication that doctors are prescribing to humans are also sold over the counter for animals cheap that could possibly be the cure for many other diseases that can also be used to cure diseases in humans for higher prices? These viruses were clearly man-made. Both characters, Magic Johnson and Eazy-E, were both spokesmen for HIV and AIDS, but it's said that the two never contracted it, so why would the two announce it? Because it was scripted for the simulation story, to promote condoms and push the masses to get tested, just like they did with C-19. My theory is that the rumor of Eazy-E and Magic Johnson not having the disease was done strategically by the elites as a way of subliminally revealing to the sheep that these two really don't have HIV. It was all just a form of mockery, that you're being fooled.
Magic Johnson is taking life to the hoop one day at a time. He says he's never been healthier, never been in better shape. He says he's never been healthier, never been in better shape.
He says he's never been healthier, never been in better shape.
And never been more grateful.
Between God and my family, it's just brought me closer to both.
To look at him, you'd have to agree. He seems to be a man in full bloom. Magic proved he could play with the best despite having HIV. In fact, he says he never even thinks about having the disease unless someone asks him about it. Is that denial?
No. I know I have the virus, but am I supposed to be crying every day? Am I supposed to be upset? Am I supposed to be trying to find a woman who did it? No, it's over. It's done with.
But you have to take medicine. You take medicine.
Yeah, you take some sort of medicine. Yeah, you take some sort of medicine.
Yeah, you take some sort of medicine.
But that's easy.
This is a Nickelodeon special edition, A Conversation with Magic.
I'm Linda Ellerby. These are some kids with questions, and this is Magic Johnson.
How long did it take you to decide that you wanted to speak out about you having AIDS?
HIV.
HIV.
Yeah, that's good. You keep saying AIDS, and we correct you. It took me about one day because I would have had done everybody a disservice if I didn't let them know that this is out here, HIV as well as AIDS, and it's out here in a big way. And that heterosexual people, you and I, can get it. I mean, anybody can get it. Because I thought, oh, not me. You know, that's a gay disease, that's a gay people's virus and so on. So I was naive to think that.
You know, one of the things, obviously, is that you can't tell by looking, can you?
No.
There's no way you can tell how many people sitting here are HIV positive.
This is Jerry Heller, and I'm here on First Fam Radio with my man Chill Gizzy. Go ahead.
A lot of artists today, you know, a lot of them have a lot of, you know, different points of views they like to speak of you on. Circulating around the music industry is that Eazy was injected with a needle that had full-blown AIDS in it. And I'm not saying that, you know, you did it or anyone, you know, name or anything, but it's speculated that you had something to do with that you being involved in that.
Yeah, I would, to those people that say that, first of all, that's just ignorant, because the only person that didn't gain from his passing away was me. Everybody else that was around gained from it. So I would say follow the money, you know? I'm the only person that didn't gain from it.
Yeah.
Because when he was sick in the hospital, that's when I left Ruthless, because I knew he wasn't coming out. Do I think that something fishy happened to Eazy? Absolutely. I don't believe for a second that someone that had as much money as we did and could afford, you know, whatever, like Magic Johnson could, and who doesn't even test positive anymore, you know, whatever, like Magic Johnson could, and who doesn't even test positive anymore.
You know, whatever like Magic Johnson could and who doesn't even test positive anymore.
You know, I don't believe that he could have possibly died that quickly from
that disease.
From full-blown AIDS. I don't believe it.
This would also shine the light on another one of the elite's puppets, Dr. Sebi, who is widely regarded as a healer who can cure diseases. I believe that Dr. Sebi was sent out by the higher-ups to hint that viruses only have power to kill you once you become addicted to the meds, and that maybe you can cure it yourself. Chapter 7. Education. The education system was built to indoctrinate the masses. The system places many students all in one room to so-called educate them. But this was all simply done to create a group-thinking mentality, programming them to believe that the information that they receive is credible knowledge, which then carries over into the so-called real world. So in other words, the knowledge that students obtain in school is designed perfectly for the very system that the elites created. So while many of the so-called educated people who believe they're so smart, they're smart because they know the scripted information and history that the elites designed. 12 to 13 years of teachings, in addition to the 4 to 8 years in college. Students are then rewarded with certificates, diplomas, and degrees as some badge of honor, all to create student loan debt and high taxes, but it's all just for validation and bragging rights, just like award shows. Chapter 8. pornography. Pornography is the portrayal of sexual subject matter for the exclusive purpose of sexual arousal. It is said that porn on the big screen began in 1969 with the film Blue Movie by director and filmmaker Andy Warhol. Blue Movie is documented as the first adult erotic film depicting explicit sexual intercourse to receive wide theatrical release in the United States. The rise and the introduction of pornography. Ironically, porn rose right around the time of the cultural shift and the downturn of the traditional family values, and the beginning of the divide of the family unit that was once widely embraced from the 1950s and in previous times. Andy Warhol, who was recognized for his creation that sparked the start of the golden age of porn, is said to have been an openly gay male, but one must ask, so no one thought to be concerned about a gay male filming women naked and partaking in these sexual acts, and didn't find that creepy or weird in any way. The glorification of pornography sparked a domino effect for a wider range of women who were traditionally raised to be more conservative, to embrace being more promiscuous and freely. It also programs the viewers, male or female, to emulate the actors and actresses on film, which porn stars are entertainers and influencers as well. As the person is watching, unrealistic expectations of sex then enters the mind, such as the long-lasting duration of sex, which is abnormal. Porn stars have trained the viewer to believe that sex should last for 30 minutes or longer, as if they are elite performers. When a female uses sex toys to get an orgasm, in most cases the sessions are typically short, ranging from 5 to 10 minutes at best, and the same applies for men also, which proves that it's really unnecessary to be trying to go all out like you are competing for some sex Olympics, or break a world record. Also, there is this crazy theory that women have good coochie, and men have good penis, like the sex is just so good but it's all an illusion. I touched on this previously, in the Too Manly to Love Too Feminine to Build film, how the elites program women to be mesmerized by men with big penises. Take the average Asian women for example. The average penis size for an Asian male is much smaller than an American male. Most Asian women who come to America cannot take a guy who is an average size for an American, because it's not what she's used to. And also, pornography is banned or restricted in many other countries. Most women in America have been brainwashed to believe that average penis size is 8 inches, and that average sizes like 5 inches are normal, and the women who are not infatuated or not too concerned with the size of a man's penis gets overshadowed and overlooked. This further proves that if American women were never programmed, they would have the same outlook as Asian women and many other countries when it's pertaining to sex. But it's the oldest trick in the book. The more you tell a person they can't have something, the more they want it. And that's what they did. Made porn less accessible years ago. With Satanism now being normal in culture, women now want men to literally hurt them in the bedroom.
Get on my nerves because it's affecting me too much. I don't ever want anybody to make love to me. Okay? I don't want you to do anything slowly, okay? I'm here for the WWE SmackDown, okay? I'm not here to be all tender with you. I'm not here to put no slow jams on, okay? I didn't come in here for that. I came in here to get my ass beat. Alright? You need to be making sure I can't walk afterward, okay? When I'm done with you, I shouldn't want to cuddle. I should want to call the police.
Right, come beat this ass up. Make me forget about that last nigga. That was weak as come my up right now, nigga.
Hey, Shawty, calm the down. Shawty, is you me or I'm you?
Nigga, you doing all that goddamn talking, cuz if you don't put that in there, nigga, beat that shit the up. Beat that up. I don't want to hear from you. Fuck me.
But what is the grand scheme in all of this, and what will this lead to? It leads to both selfish genders being content with just pleasuring themselves. Chapter 9. Civil and Structural Engineering. The entire land that we live on, the buildings, the roads, the states, the cities, have all been scripted in stone since the beginning of time. The monument, statues and Statue of Liberty, the White House, etc., were built and is scripted to one day be demolished. This ties into the end of the old world and beginning of a new world, better known as the New World Order. This idea that white powerful men run the world is just a facade. Characters such as Bill Gates, Bezos, Zuckerberg, Rockefellers, Rothschild are not really rich, they're puppets. Chapter 10. Afterlife. When asking most people, what happens when you die? The typical responses are either you go to heaven or hell, or that when you die you just have one long dream of either all the bad things that you've done in life, or all the good things, which I won't dispute any of them obviously because none of us witnessed death and was able to come back to tell the story. But this phrase "you only live once" is merely laughable. I don't know what happens, but what I will say is, I find it quite eerie that in some of the most popular films, animals can talk. I'll leave it at that.
It's Crater.
Hey, yo, Wavy, where you at, nigga? Yes, sir.